Shabbat Shalom. We'll begin with Yedid Nefesh, page 10.
Shabbos. Welcome everyone. So nice to see you after yet another long week, a week full of congregational and human pain and loss and challenge, and also a week filled with celebration and summer fun and everything in between those two. I'd like to acknowledge, as I welcome those of you who are joining us online, a huge thanks once again to everyone who made the upgrading of our streaming possible. I love that you're here and I want you to always be here, but if you find yourself not here, please enjoy the new cameras that hopefully make everybody feel much closer in. To everyone who gave on Give Nola Day to make it possible, thank you so much. And a special thank you to the family of Ruth and Larry Coleman for your gift that completed the project and made it possible for us to have this beautiful streaming. I want to again welcome to our congregation Rabbi Lily Kowalski, who's seated on the bima, our new Associate Rabbi and Director of Youth Education and Family Engagement. It's just going to be wonderful to integrate Rabbi Kowalski into everything we do and be led by her in all of our youth education programming. So I hope everyone gets a chance to meet her as Summer Union continues. And a very special welcome to those of you who are joining us from Temple Sinai and from Congregation Gates of Prayer. It's always humbling to be in a room with so many rabbis also. So welcome to Rabbi Sherman and as always our beloved Rabbi Goldstein. And it is a very a special honor to welcome Rabbi Lucy Dinner and Jeff Dinner, who will be kindling our Shabbat lights tonight. As you may know, part of our extended New Orleans family, Rabbi Dinner is the Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Beth Or, and a leader of our movement and a tremendous role model for me. Home here in New Orleans and not too far from Anguilla, Mississippi, right, Jeff? Anguilla, yes. And an amazing couple that met at Jacob's Camp and are and I know you're home, observing Yard Site, but also home here in New Orleans. So welcome. If you would come forward, please, as we kindle our Shabbat lights and bring warmth and light and transition this Friday afternoon into a Shabbat day.
melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Amen. We turn to page 5 and rise for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hakafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'vratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lemahaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tefila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
You may be seated. We continue now with our Kabbalat Shabbat singing, and this is an opportunity, as I always want to remind us, for transition from the rush, from the busyness, from the loneliness, from the stress, from the angst, from whatever is weighty upon us during the week. These songs and psalms are here as a chance to change our state of mind, our state of body and heart and soul as we enter into Shabbat. We begin on page 12 and sing together, bringing in this special day.
Lekuneranena, 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 ladonai. Lekuneranena, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, letzori, sheinu nekad mapana betada. Naria, naria, letzori, sheinu, bizmirot naria lo. Lekuneranena, 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 ladonai. Lekuneranena, 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 ladonai.
Bottom of page 14, Or Zarua.
Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Lev Simcha. O Yisrael Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Lev Simcha. O Yisrael Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Simcha.
Bottom of page 17, Romamu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtakavu Lehar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtakavu Lehar Kodsho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtakavu Lehar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtakavu Lehar Kodsho.
We turn to Lechato D, page 20. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Shamor Zachor B'dibor Echad Hishmiyanu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet Ve'Litila. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Likrat Shabbat Lekovenecha Ki Mekor HaBeracha Merosh Mikeden Nesucha Sof Maaseh V'machshavat Tefila. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Hitoreri Kiva Ore Kumi Ori Shidaberi Kevod Adonai Allah Yiftikla. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Bohi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'tzolatoch emunei am segula. Bohi chala Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela. Lechato Di Likrat Kala Pele Shabbat Mekabela.
You can be seated. I've returned from a week at Jacob's Camp, so if your kid or kids are there, I can tell you that just about this exact moment, their counselors are holding their hands over their heads and blessing them and the rest of their cabin mates. But if you are only childing it because your siblings at camp, or you just happen to be with us and you are not quite to the age of bar or bat mitzvah like David, come on up and join us for your Shabbat blessing. You don't have to do anything but look cute and smile and get a blessing and then get a Hershey kiss. If you're over the age of B'nai Mitzvah and you're near your parents, you have to lean into them right now also. We miss our kids in the summer, but we are always glad when we get to celebrate this moment with them. Shabbat Shalom.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ken yehi ratzon Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha Ken yehi ratzon Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom Ken yehi ratzon
Continue on page 28 with the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer. If you're able, we invite you to please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Vaed Yairei
On page 30, 6 lines up in the Hebrew, we give thanks to God for the transitions in our lives, from an ordinary week into Shabbat, from the day into the evening, from one moment into the next. We give thanks.
Umavir yom umevir laila Umatil ben yom uven laila Adonai tzvot shemo El chai v'kayam Tamid yimloch aleinu Le'olam vaed Baruch atah Adonai Amari v'aravi.
On page 32, we give thanks to God for the everlasting and ever-giving gift of Torah, for its stories and symbols, for its role models of who to be and sometimes who not to be. We give thanks for that gift in our lives.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Yairei, 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 yairei.
Page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You can be seated. Page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom ha'levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kiroshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
On page 40, with our song, Mi Chamocha, we ask perhaps the greatest rhetorical question that our tradition offers. Who is like you, O God? Of course, we know the answer. There is no one like you, O God, amongst all who are worshipped. Page 40.
Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nedar Ba'kodesh Nora Tehilot Oseh Feleh Nora Tehilot Oseh Feleh Bihamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mikamocha Nedar Ba'kodesh V'nema kifet Adonai et Yaakov Ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Ga Yisrael.
Page 43. The bottom of the page, in English, we read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג המקדשי שבי כולם ישבחו ויתענגו מטובך והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו חמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר למעשה בראשית זכר למעשה בראשית.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul and mend a broken heart and rebuild a weakened will. On pages 46 and following, if you're able, we invite you to rise for our Amidah, the tefillah portion of our service.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid ha'atal, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melech, melech meimit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neheman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahlelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You can be seated. May these hours of Shabbat rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. We read together in English at the bottom of the page. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answers to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Take a few moments now for Tefillat Halev, the prayers of our own hearts. We'll come back together in a few moments on page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol het u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We dedicate this moment to those who are in need of healing in our own families, in our own circles, and extending in outer circles beyond. We are aware that some of the illnesses, some of the hurt, even in this very room, people suffering with illnesses and pain that we all know about, we can see, we can express concern, and people struggling with pain that is invisible. And for each and every person who is here and each and every person that we love, we offer up these prayers. May our prayers give strength to you as you encounter the challenges before you. And we extend this both to the people that we love, who I'll ask you to think about now, whisper names, and beyond that to all those who are in pain across our community and the world.
אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
So there are some who might claim that this week's parasha inspired the movie Shrek. I have no idea if it's actually true, but the Torah definitely has the first talking donkey in written record, and we read about this donkey in chapter 22 of the book of Numbers in Parashat Balak. Bilam, the seer, atop his donkey, has been sent by the king of Moab to curse the Israelites. Perhaps is a story familiar to you. The two, meaning the seer and the donkey, are walking down the road when an angel appears in their way. To make a long story short, the angel is only visible to the donkey at first, and she sees that her way is blocked by this messenger of God with a sword. And so she knows that she can't swerve left or right. The entire path is blocked. And so eventually she lies down, making her rider angry, so angry that he beats her. And eventually, of course, she speaks to Bilam. And she says, in essence, you should trust me. I have been a good donkey. Don't you think I stopped for a good reason? Open your eyes. And then his eyes are open to see the messenger from God, instructing him to go along with the men of Moab and to speak the words to and about the Israelites that God will place there. Scholar and giant of our Reform movement in Israel, Rabbi Michael Marmer, writes of this passage. He says, quote, "My suggestion is that revelation is being described here not as falling out of the sky, but rather as engendered within boundaries. We need fences," he claims, in order to encounter the angel. And he's referring to the fact that this donkey and her rider are trapped, and it's only because they're trapped that the angel becomes visible. In other words, according to Rabbi Marmer, a Jewish view of freedom and revelation is almost the opposite of longing for wide open spaces or riding off into the sunset. Freedom of this kind in our tradition is sort of meaningless. Rather, boundaries, commitments, limits are often a gateway to meaning and to the true enjoyment of freedom. But more on that later. Bilam eventually does speak words about the Israelites, the most famous, of course, being, "Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael." How lovely are your tents, your encampment, O Israel. But others of his words are worth noting tonight as well. Bilam says of the Israelites, just after his encounter with the angel, he says, "As I see them from the mountaintops, gaze on them from the heights, hen am levadav yishkon, uvagoyim lo yit chashav." There is a people that dwells apart, not reckoned among the nations. Am levadad yishkon, a people who dwells alone, a people who dwells apart. Levad in Hebrew means alone. These are mysterious words, really. They're rather cryptic. They sound foreboding, but also with a hint of admiration, too. And sure enough, they have been understood as both a blessing and a curse by others. They certainly hint at our famous chosenness, this people who dwells alone, not reckoned with the rest of the nations. The idea that we are especially dear to God, more so than everyone else, perhaps. And so maybe this is a blessing, what he says. But this kind of blessing, the idea that Jews are especially important to God and are different than everyone else, has inspired both respect but also envy and hate. It is a source of a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism throughout our history. So maybe not such a blessing, even if we understand it that way. It also sounds like it's describing a state of aloneness. This is a people who dwells apart, a people who dwells alone. But whether that is a blessing about our independence and our ingenuity, or it's a curse about eternal loneliness, that we're destined to be strangers everywhere and always, it's hard to say, and there are arguments on both sides of each of these. Regardless, this aloneness that could be a blessing or a curse has been imposed upon us since biblical times. We have been the consummate other. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks teaches of this famous issue, quote, "In ancient times, Israel was a small nation surrounded by large empires. In the Middle Ages, Jews were the most conspicuous minority in Christian Europe. Today, the state of Israel is a vulnerable enclave in a predominantly Muslim Middle East," and the list goes on. It is hard to argue with this observation that we have been the consummate other, if one is acquainted with Jewish history at all. And it is important to say that it is hard to be the other. Hard because it can be dangerous, and hard because it can confuse us about who we actually are and what we're actually about. I had such a meaningful conversation this week with congregants about this very issue as we explored our own feelings about what being other does to us, what it brings out in us. Sadly, it can make us believe that there's something inherently wrong with us. That's what exclusion and isolation does, whether we're talking about one child in a classroom or an entire people. Because the majority opinion is powerful. Surely they can't all be wrong. They must be speaking some sort of truth. Or it can also make us believe that there's something inherently superior about us. We wouldn't be the object of so much attention if we weren't special, if we weren't chosen. And dangerously, this can inspire Jewish supremacy. But neither of these are reactions that honor who we actually are. They are things that happen to us, to our mind, when we are the object of so much speculation. Who we are is actually fully human, divine and flawed, like everybody else. We are and deserve to be treated and to treat ourselves as equals. Bilam's words, Am levadad yishkon, a people that dwells apart, have been understood both as a blessing and a curse by rabbis and modern commentators, but what if they're just descriptive? He says, after he describes the Israelites this way, that they are a people that dwells alone, he says, "Who can count the dust of Jacob, number the dust cloud of Israel? May I die the death of the upright. May my fate be like theirs." Isn't that what we all deserve? To go through life upright, with dignity. Shouldn't that be everyone's fate? Rabbi Sacks continues in his explication of this parashah. He says, Jews have long been cast in the role of other, the one who does not fit in to the dominant paradigm, the majority faith, the prevailing culture. One of Judaism's central themes is the dignity of dissent. Jews argue, challenge, question. Sometimes they do so even with God himself. That is why the fate of Jews in any given time and place is often the best index of freedom in that time and place. In other words, being other is something that pushes the dominant paradigm, the majority faith, the prevailing culture to grapple with its commitment to pluralism, to equality, to dignity, of dissent and difference. And for Bilam to say, may my fate be like theirs, Tihi acharit kamohu, is a way of saying, it could be a way of saying, this people that insists on their right to be different is reminding me that I have that right too. May their pride remind me to be proud of who I am too. What makes Jewish life exceptional is not some special quality of our people that we inherently have. We all know Jews who are definitely not exceptional. I mean, not in this room, but we all know them. But rather, the kind of culture that we nourish among ourselves is what makes us have an exceptional fate. It is the values that we strive to live by that require a sense of responsibility for increasing justice and compassion in the world. It is the rituals that we cling to that cultivate our consciousness of the sacred. The theology that we internalize that welcomes growth and forgiveness and brokenness and hope. And the story we tell about ourselves that grounds us in a past and reminds us of who we are and who we should become. In essence, it's the boundaries we willingly put up, the commitments we freely make, that make it possible for us to hear the divine messages all around us, to see our angel. That only happens in the context of a space that we intentionally shape. This continues to be an excruciating time for our community and our Jewish people. Our otherness is the primary focus of international and local news pretty much daily, and our agony for our captives still in Gaza, for the millions of suffering Palestinians also there, our friends and relatives who are in the IDF, the wounded and broken of our people, the very existence of our homeland, our sense of ownership over our own story, and our inherent concern for the fate of our fellow others who are being rounded up and locked away with shocking inhumanity at times, supposedly sometimes in our name. All of these feel like they're not allowed to coexist within us, let alone in a public sphere. So let us remember the simple story in Parshat Balak. We are fully human, beautiful, and complex, and our uniqueness is a noble inheritance, not just for ourselves, but as a call to ensure others' uniqueness is protected as well, whenever we can. Let us also remember that the ways we find strength and clarity, the divine call to action, is through our deep commitment to that distinctiveness. We will miss the angel if we swerve all over the road. We cannot hear the messages inside our tradition if we step outside of it. A Jewish life, or a life located inside the Jewish community, is not a pathway to being exceptional, to inherent goodness and prosperity. Rather, it is a pathway to a meaningful life, to a life of righteous wrestling and reflection, a life where community calls on us, all around us, to action, and a long and powerful story that roots us in continuity and connection and hope. So in closing, I'll say, if it helps us to remember where all this starts, it starts with that talking donkey. But what she reminds us is, and what her rider, who was not an Israelite reminds us, is that actually to be different, to be other, is a privilege. And it is a way to be an example and to make our community braver, to embrace the otherness of everyone. So it is, in that way, a really important mission, even and maybe especially when it's very hard. Shabbat Shalom.
We rise for Elenu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kecho hamonam, v'anachnu korim,
ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. In these final moments of our service, we turn our thoughts to those whom we have loved and lost, and to all those amongst us who are in their period of mourning, observing yahrzeit, and honoring that universal experience for each of us. Before we share the names in our congregational families, and I invite you to share names of people you came to say Kaddish for, would like to offer this prayer for Texas by Rabbi Lance Sussman. That is a moment for us to acknowledge the staggering loss of life still unfolding only a few hundred miles away. He writes, "Our God, God of all humanity, although we have read about a flood which destroyed the earth centuries ago, we watch with horror as swollen rivers wash away entire families and communities. Instill in us enough compassion to dry the bodies and tears of survivors. Lead us to stand together on the banks of grief. Help us to be wise and generous enough to plan together to avoid future catastrophes. And most of all, lift up our eyes and hearts to see rainbows of hope through the receding clouds. Amen." It is our custom to invite those who are observing yahrzeit or in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, as you're comfortable, to rise as your family member, loved one's name is said, and if you wish to remain standing until the congregation joins you. And as always, it's an honor to read the names of those from all of the congregations that are joining here today, and it does make our list, it makes our list long, which is quite an honor for all of these individuals, but as you're standing, to be aware of that as well. We are in a period of Shiva for the following loved ones died within the last 7 days. We recall Leonard Lewis White, Richard Samuel Friedman, and Janice Posner Brandt. We are in a period of Shloshim for Shirley Bersadsky Bronston Goldman, Janice Silver, Nestor Delgado Jr., Marty Goldstein, Russell Weiss, and Brigitte Symbol Cohn. And for yahrzeit on this Shabbat, from Congregation Gates of Prayer, we recall Julius Abramson, Molly Momberg Bernstein, Ray Silverman Bowski, Lee Burstein, Lexi Cohen, Victor D. Dembro, Chris Fishenich, Julia Vilner Finger, Carrie Fisher, Marvin Jeffer, Rachel Ruth Himmler Lashover, Ida Feldman Mannheim, Elias Ben Gabriel Mannheim, Bella Levy Marcuse, William Memelies, Peter Molnar, S. Kallman Polmer, Mendel Simon Rao, Bernard Regenbogen, Harry Rosenberg, Simon Rosenberg, Augusta Mayer Rosenthal, Jack Sands, Sidney Chaleg, Manuel C. Slipikoff, Molly King Saul, Jeannie Wolf Summer, Barbara W. Strauss, Eugene H. Strauss, Donald B. Strauss, Stanley Ray Wachowski, Ethel Watsky, Fanny Stone Weber, and Geraldine Levy Zoller. From Temple Sinai, we recall Rosalind May Alkus, Logan H. Babin, Russell P. Block, Doward Bronson, Miriam Cohen, Marvin Dinner, Carol Dreyfus Eastman, Susan Rosenthal Farrell, Edward Feebleman, Jean Ferran, Dora Ferber, Moses A. Fisher, Edith R. Goldman, Dina Goldstein, Morris Aaron Hirsch, Dr. R. Donald Jandorf, Simon Kahn, Benno Katz, Joe Kaufman, Marjorie Kirschman, Ida Werner Klein, Morris Krookoff, Yetta Lefko, Helen Adler Levy, Bernard J. Marcuse, Harold J. Meyer Jr., Pauline B. Paglin, Louis Polsky, Libby P. Raphael, Sophie Hesch Schwartz, Lily Schooler, Simon Schlenker III, Afia Schlecht von Earson, Helene K. Sperling, Howard E. Stern, Leo Schwartz Weil, and Leah Claire Miller Weiss. And for Yahrzeit for Touro Synagogue, we recall Solomon Adler, Carrie Wildenstein Altmont, Charles Marks Altmont, Samuel Barkoff, MD, Charles W. Cohen, Beatrice Y. Everett, Eva S. Vatel, Dora Ferber, Clyde David Friedman, Sophia Platt Friedman, Nathan Clarence Gernsbacher, Anna F. Gross, Leonard Hochstein, Dr. Meyer William Israel Jacobson, Dolores Rose Krinsky, Erhard Michael Mayer, Helen Nagel McClure, Molly Tannenbaum Mintz, Daniel Novak, Carolyn Oldenburg, Morris Bernard Phillips, Catherine Pollock Rittenberg, Simon Rosenberg, Gertrude Rubenstein, Jan Philip Saltzman, Jean Samuelson, Burton Gilbert Wagger, Suzanne Kagan Wexler, Howard David Wolchansky, Mary Young, Earl Marvin Zander, and Linda Markin Zoller. Please share any additional names you came to remember tonight.
Rabbi Larry Carroll.
For those we name aloud, for those we hold in our hearts every Shabbat, for those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, and for all those names that we may never know and don't know tonight, those who lost their lives in Texas Hill Country floods and in tragedies and catastrophes across our world, we rise, page 294, affirming our faith and our love of life. And to honor all of these memories, we declare, Yitkadal,
Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Hirutei, Be'amlich Malchutei, B'chayechon, B'yomechon, U'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala V'zman Kariv V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam L'olmei Amaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei D'Kusha Brichu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Damiran Ve'alma V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, L'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mruma, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru,
Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and may God comfort all those who are bereaved among us. We say together, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. It is a joy to invite forward Max Lavin. accompanied by his mom, Beth Lavin, who is our Executive Vice President, to make a few announcements and offer words of welcome.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Special welcome to our sister congregations joining us for Summer Union, and welcome to Rabbi Daniel Sherman and Executive Director Jen Daly from Temple Sinai. Wanted to thank our candle lighters this evening, Rabbi Lucy and Jeff Dinner, and our most valuable greeter, David Michael Lieber. Thank you to our Shabbat flower sponsors, in memory of Jean Samuelson by Beverly Katz. If you are a Touro ambassador, will you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you. For any new members or guests in the congregation, and even for longtime members, feel free to find me or any of the ambassadors to say hello. We'd love to greet you personally and answer any questions you may have. Shabbat morning begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. All are welcome to join in the library for a robust Torah study with Torah service, Shabbat songs, and Kaddish. Yamim Yafim, Touro's Sunday morning religious school program, is seeking teachers. If you or someone you know may be interested, please reach out to Rabbi Kowalski.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks.
I want to extend another word of welcome. It's wonderful to have you here, and if you are new to our congregation, as Beth said, please, our ambassadors are wonderful. You're welcome to introduce yourself to those of us who are on the Bima and their representatives from our sister congregations here as well. We're just glad you found us, and please feel welcome and come back again. Let's log in. This is important. It's going to help. It's going to help us to communicate as a congregation wonderfully. So if you haven't activated your Shul Cloud account and logged in, so we can just easily exchange information and be totally connected, please do so and don't be intimidated. And if you have any questions, please call the office. And our amazing Director of Operations, Sarah Tucker, is going to walk you through everything and get us all there. We're going to conclude tonight with the words of Matovu on page 326. This is a hymn for the morning, but because it comes from Parshat Balak, we're going to sing it tonight. And I just want to offer us an intention while we sing it. I was at camp this week for a few days as well, and it was a really incredible, powerful thing to be at camp and also to be holding, as we all were, the news of an unfolding tragedy at a nearby camp, and to remember how incredibly precious spaces of safety and hope and joy are, especially for our children. These words that Bilam speaks as he's looking out from a hilltop to the Israelite encampment, he's basically looking down and saying, this camp, this life that you have together where you share everything and dwell next to each other, it's beautiful. And so as we hold in our hearts those who lost their lives, especially the children, but everyone who lost their lives in places where they expected to be safe and comfortable, let's give thanks for the places that we have that are especially beautiful and joyful, and resolve, as Rabbi Sussman said, to protect each other in all the ways that we can. Please rise. How lovely are our dwelling together, O Jacob.
Page 326. Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Vani berov chastecha, avo vetecha,
אשתך והקודשך ביראתך מה טובו אוהלך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל מה טובו אוהלך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל משכנותיך ישראל Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz